And good morning and welcome to another edition of Telling It Like It Is. We're here every Saturday morning at 10:30 a.m. with me, Ralph Williams, and my co-host, who I'm going to bring up right now, Leo Haggerty. Leo, welcome to the program.
Hey, it's always a pleasure, Ralph, to be on with you on Saturday.
All right. Thank you very much. Pleasures likewise. And I want to thank you for helping me out with the Arizona Cardinals thing. I really needed help with that, and I appreciate your help for that. So
Well,
thank you.
I hope Rick gave you what you needed.
Oh, absolutely. He was very good. We talked about but we talked about wide receivers in the NFL are acting like prima donnas. We talked about that as well. So, I mean,
Good,
so we actually got a little extra to talk about out of that.
nice.
So, all right, your comments are welcome in the comment section. We're in the First Line Consulting Services Studios. 1-877-926-6982 is the number to call for your website needs. Do you need a website? Does your group organization need a website? Does your business need a website? Do you, as a person, need a website? We'll call them today. 1-877-926-6982. They have the best in monthly rates to help you get your website up, managed, and also they will upload your videos as well. This first segment is brought to you by Mata Heating and Air Conditioning, 724-201-0500. Call Mata Heating and Air Conditioning today for the best in heating and air conditioning, UV lighting, furnaces, snow melt, also uh, air cleaners, and a whole lot more. Heat pumps. They got a bunch of things that Mata does. Give them a call. Talk to Bill. That number 724-201-0500. I'm going to tell you what, you ought to call Mata. All right, Leo, let's get started today. The same old, pretty much in the national perspective. But I never seen somebody like George Santos get what, suspended or fired or told to step down or something. That was nuts.
Well, especially being the Republicans did it.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
only is in a two-seat majority now until that election comes up, and it looks like another Republican's going to retire. So yeah, it was interesting the way that played out. That's for sure. But you know what? When you look at all the evidence against him, it was hard not to vote him out. It was just
right, right. Yeah, that's sad that that happened that way. These are our politicians, and these are the people that the public votes in. I mean, you and I have said this many times. I think the majority need to be voted out. And then Texas, the governor of Texas, he's still squawking at Biden about what's going on down there. They're starting to get overflowed with immigrants, and Biden hasn't done anything, and they're supposed to be giving money, and the federal government's get ready to shut down again. This is just a circus and a half.
oh, it is. And you know what? It's crazy because all these southern governors in Texas and Florida, all of a sudden they said, "Hey, look, we're going to send these guys to Chicago and New York. You deal with them for a while." Oh boy, I'll tell you what. All of a sudden, the mayor of Chicago, the mayor of New York, they're screaming. You know what? But nobody's doing anything down here. And I tell
Yeah.
you, the floodgates are open at the border. That's for sure.
Yeah, that's a shame. I have nothing against immigrants coming into this country, but I have a problem when they come in illegally. I have a problem when they buy up our businesses and don't and disrespect Americans. That's what I have a problem with. Okay, that's why at times, and then on top of that, people in this country don't want to work, and then they complain when the foreigners are working. Well, you know what? Somebody got to do the job, Leo. Somebody got to keep businesses going. And if you want to play games and you don't want to work, hey, you know what? That's what they're going to do. There's a tomato farm here in central Pennsylvania. He was looking for people. This happened 10 years ago. $16 an hour he was paying starting pay. Work picking tomatoes. That's not a bad wage for picking tomatoes. And then uh, everybody called up the radio station and complained, "Oh, I have to work weekends. Do I have to work, holidays and all that stuff like that? Do I have to? Am I going to be provided with equipment or what is it? And they asked 400 questions, and the guy couldn't find nobody, so he went and he got some. He went and he got some immigrants, and they're working there. And now the town is complained at the time about the fact that the immigrants were working there, but nobody in the town wanted to work for $16 an hour picking tomatoes. So he had to do something. And now businesses are closing up because they can't get people, and nobody wants to work at all now, and it's really getting out of control.
Oh, absolutely. And you know what? Uh, the younger generation we have has no work ethic right now. It's uh, they can't get off their cell phones. They can't get up and decide what they want to do. I mean, they want to sit there in front of the TV 24/7 and play video games. Well, guess what? That's not the way this country was built. Somebody
No,
get out
not
and
at
work.
all.
And the fact that they don't want to work, that's kind of crazy.
Oh, it's ridiculous. And let me tell you this much. Yesterday, my wife and I went shopping. I took my dog to the groomer, gave him a Christmas present. Took him to the groomer, and we went to the store, and there was this guy working there, and we were trying to get his attention to find out if there were scooters available inside the store because both my wife and I are both handicapped. And they said the guy didn't come to us because apparently he has a hearing problem. And so my wife went to the manager and she said that he's a 35-year-old man with a 16-year-old's brain. But what I admire about him, Leo, is he works. He
Yeah,
was pushing carts, he was helping out in the store, and you got McDonald's up here, and you got convenience stores now paying 15, 17, $18 an hour. You can't get nobody to work. And everybody says, oh, I'm not working in that kind of job because I don't want to deal with these rude, nasty people. And you know what? That is true. There are nasty, rude people out here. Very few people hold the door open for me. Very few people say yes sir, no sir. I've had a few young kids uh, that have said yes sir, no sir. Those are the ones that are well mannered and parented and everything else. But I had a security guard last night at one of our candy companies here, a famous one called Sarah's Candies, and my wife and my mom and I went there. And the security guard was very nice. He pushed me back to my car. He helped me out, and everything else. Very well mannered. I told him I was going to call his company and give him a. But nowadays, it's very few and far between. You can't get nobody to hold the door open for you. People are rude. It's terrible out here.
yeah, it is. It's just it's crazy because now it's just what can you do for me? It's not.
Yeah,
And again, let's go back to John Kennedy in 1960. Ask not what your country could do for you. Ask what you can do for your country.
for your country, right?
That's
Right.
that so far down the river right now. You can't even get there with a boat and an oar. So yeah, that's just it's changed so much.
Oh yeah.
And it's
And
sad.
what bothers me too is we have some Jewish synagogues here in Western Pennsylvania, and you know about the guy who in 2018 shot up uh, one of our synagogues here. And now that this war is going on between Israel and Gaza, and even though there's a ceasefire, you have our synagogues on watch because of the people putting in bomb threats, and oh, it's really bad. That's a shame. And there's people from Hamas here that are nice people. They don't bother nobody, and they're getting picked on because of this war. And it's bad out here. It really is.
Well, you know what, Ralph? Let's go back to World War II and think about what happened to the Japanese Americans. Again, there was
Yeah,
not one documented case of a Japanese American committing any type of treasonous activity. And you know what that got them? That got them a trip to a relocation camp. You know what? They were concentration camps.
right,
We just don't call them that. But they owned the entire Sunset Strip, Wilshire Boulevard. They all got shipped to Colorado. They lost everything. And you know what? Thank goodness the government decided, well, we're going to give them a $25,000, stipend for those that are still alive. And
right,
at least we did something for them. And that's
right.
just crazy that that's happening.
Oh, absolutely. All right, Leo, we're going to shift gears. We're going to get into our sports. Some great college games going on. But first, uh, the college football segment that we're doing right now is brought to you by P6 Auto Detailing in New Kensington. Call them today, 412-965-6578. Let the professionals detail your car. Christmas is coming up. How about giving a gift of a gift certificate? Get on their Facebook page, P6 Auto Detailing, and check out their Facebook page for some great specials. and for the holiday season, give the gift of a detail from P6 Auto Detailing, 412-965-6578. Okay, Leo, we got some great college games going on today, and I was watching Pat McAfee there with his Goodwill suit on, and his hillbilly belt buckle there that he got. No offense to hillbillies or anything, but his sport jacket was so tight the button was ready to pop out. You know, I like Pat McAfee, but then again, I have no respect for him anymore after he screwed over the WWE. He told them he was going to stick with them in the broadcast booth, and then he took that college job, and then he at the last minute the WWE had to scramble to get somebody to take his place. Then after the college season was over in January of this year, he wanted his job back, and WWE said no, Pat, I already got people to fill your spot. So he makes occasional cameo appearances with the WWE, but I just didn't like how he conducted himself there. That's not Pittsburghish. He's from here. He's from this area, and that's not the way you act. You know what I mean? And I was kind of frustrated with him.
If you give your word, you back it up. That's it. And
Yeah,
and, and
yeah.
if your word doesn't mean anything, you got problems. So
Oh
that's
yeah,
and if there was an easy way to handle that, you could have just said, "Hey, WWE, they want me to start doing college football. How do I back out of this?" And here's the key word: slowly,
right.
and still give you what you need. That was not a hard situation, but he
No,
made it hard. That's for sure. But you know what, Ralph? I tell you what, I sit there and watch this idiot on TV today talking about how they are definitely politicking right now to get two SEC teams into the
I
playoffs.
see that. Yeah, I heard that today. Yeah, because I was getting ready. I have a DJ gig this afternoon, and I was getting ready for that as well. So packing
Yeah,
up all my equipment and everything.
funny because everybody talks about the eye test. You know what the eye test is? It's not EYE. It's idiot test because they're trying to tell us, oh, we know more than you do. Well, guess what? If Texas wins and Alabama wins and Florida State wins and Michigan wins, there's no SEC team in this. And I
Right,
don't care how you just try to make this happen, but you've got three undefeated teams. You'll have Washington, Florida State, and you'll have Michigan. And people are saying, well, Florida State doesn't have their quarterback. They're not as good. Well, they're 13-0. What do you want them to do? And again, then you get down to Texas and Alabama. Now, it's a shame, but Ohio State, they're not even in the conversation because they're not playing. If you're not playing, you're not in. There are 10 teams that are going to get decided to get in this thing. Washington's in. Okay, we know that.
right.
The winner, Michigan wins, they're in. Georgia wins, they're in. Florida State wins, they're in. Now it's easy.
Yeah,
Now you got the four undefeated. If Alabama beats Georgia, that throws the entire thing into quandary. Because you know what, Ralph? I don't think the committee has the stones to tell the SEC, well, guess what? You're not getting in
you're not
because
getting a team. Right,
there are four teams better than you. And
right. And then they were talking about Leo about how, oh well, if I was on the committee, I would do this, I would do that. And I'm like, you know what? You're not on the committee. That's the whole problem. You know,
yeah, and you know what, Ralph? I'm going to take that line right now. If I was on the committee, the first thing, if you lose a home game, you're out.
you're
That's the
done. Yeah.
biggest red flag I got. And Texas didn't just beat Alabama in Tuscaloosa; they crushed.
Excuse me.
They crushed
Right.
them. So you know what? That's it. So the nicest thing that can happen, and I said this the other day on ESPN to, hey Nick, shut up and lose because that gets Georgia in. If you win, nobody's going from the SEC, and I don't care what they say
Yes.
because they're sitting there and there is no criteria for this. Are they counting the teams you beat, the teams you lost to? What is happening? And again, then they come with the eye test. Then they come with this. Then they go, well, this guy comes in and says the conference, they're not equal. Well, you know what? Vanderbilt in South Carolina right now, that's a bye week in the SEC. They're
Right.
terrible. They're just
Yeah.
terrible. Florida, it's like a bye week
Oh,
in the
Florida hasn't been relevant in a while, Leo. I think probably since Urban Meyer was the last time they really were relevant that I
And
can think of.
I have called the SEC East the Ivy League South because if you look at it, you got Vanderbilt, you got Tennessee. Tennessee was a one and done. You
Yeah.
got Georgia, yeah. But who else now? I want to see what the SEC does next year when all of a sudden you get Texas and Oklahoma in. Well,
Right.
heck, you can't go to the East. You got to move Alabama and Auburn to the East. So now you got Georgia, Alabama, and Auburn, all of them in this, and they're all on the same side because I bet they find a way because they got Missouri in the East. Get Missouri out of the East. Come
Right.
on. Put them in the West where they belong. If you're going to call it East and West, do it. But, once Oklahoma and Texas comes in, I want to see what they do with Alabama and Auburn because they're going to have to move them.
Yeah, they're going to have to do something. It's going to be an overcrowded conferences, and I heard next year they're going to 12 teams or something. So we'll see how that works out. Some scores last night. Liberty's doing well again, 49-35 over New Mexico State. Oregon lost to Washington, put themselves out of things, 34-31. How about Washington, man? Wow. Oklahoma State is in their Big 12 championship today against Texas. Oklahoma State got blown out by Southern Alabama or somebody to that effect, or Northern Alabama. I can't remember which one it was. They got blown out at the beginning of the season. I don't think they should even be in this game, but I guess it is what it is. Miami of Ohio versus Toledo for the MAC conference title. SMU versus Tulane for the AAC title. That AAC conference, Leo's really becoming a joke because a lot of them teams they left. I know Cincinnati went to the Big 12, and there's a few other teams that pulled out of there as well. And they don't have too many teams left.
Yeah, Cincinnati, Houston, Central Florida.
Yeah,
They jumped out. Brigham Young got in. So, yeah, it was
yeah.
it's kind of crazy. But I'll tell you what, keep an eye on that SMU Tulane game because that's going to be a good football game. They are two good football teams, believe me.
Yeah, the Hawaii Bowl is actually coming up December 23rd, 10:30 p.m. Coastal Carolina versus San Jose State. That's coming up on the 23rd. I haven't checked out any. The bowl show hasn't come on yet to really check anything out. So we're going to go from there. Michigan, Iowa today for the Big Ten championship. Jim Harbaugh's back on the sidelines. What do you think happens with him moving forward?
If Michigan wins the national championship, I think he rides off into the sunset back to the NFL.
Yeah, that's what I think. Yeah.
I think he's going to try to ride out another year at Michigan.
So he'll be there for 2024 and then go to the NFL.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I think that's his goal is to go back to the NFL. But I think the first goal is for Michigan to win the national championship. That's the first goal.
Does Florida State have a chance today against Louisville with a backup quarterback? I'm tired of hearing people say, Florida State, I don't have a quarterback. The quarterback's hurt. They ain't going to do anything. You know what? You never know what the backup quarterback can do, right, Leo? We've seen it many times in our lifetime here.
You know what, Ralph? I've got them as my best pick of the weekend.
Yeah.
I think Florida State beats Louisville because you know what? Those other 21 guys that play for Florida State, they're pretty darn good. And that was last week. I said with Florida. And the shame is that late hit by Florida on the backup quarterback. They may have to go with their third teamer, which is truly, excuse me, a shame. But yeah, I got Florida State winning because
they have a lot of talent.
They got athletes all over the place. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Mike Norvell. And you know what? I got a guy here who hosts a show called Steel City Sports World. His name's Luther Dupree. He laughed at Mike Norvell about a year ago when I said, "Hey, Mike Norvell's going to be doing real good down the floor." Oh, he stinks. Oh, he was the offensive coordinator up there. Pity didn't do that. I said, you know what? Mike Norvell's going to have that team in the championship or relevant, and he has. So
Ralph, if they win, this committee may throw them out and say, "Well, you're not going to be competitive." And boy, I'll tell you what. If that happens, they need to fire all of them and just say, "Okay, we'll find 12 people off the streets who can figure this out." Because not hard. Not hard. I'm going to go back to the one thing. The first thing you look at, what is your record? The second thing you look at is, are you a champion in your conference?
Yeah, yeah.
That's the two things right there.
And if you lose to a Division II team like a Southern Alabama or something, that takes you out. You shouldn't lose to a team like that.
Well, the problem they got is that they were fine in the conference. They beat
Right.
Oklahoma. All Oklahoma had to do was beat Oklahoma State, and they were in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got to give Mike Gundy credit. He had some issues this year, blew some games because of mistakes, but you know what? He brought that team back to where they are. So,
They didn't
you
have a
know,
quarterback, Ralph. That's the
yeah.
problem. Look at all these teams. The teams that are in, they have quarterbacks. And that's Alabama's biggest problem is they didn't have a quarterback. And you know what, Ralph? We would be remiss if we didn't talk about how Auburn just completely pooped the bed that last play against Alabama.
Yeah.
What were they thinking?
Thinking. Yeah. Yeah,
They
exactly.
every receiver run free off the line of scrimmage. They should have had a guy in their face, put three across the back at the goal line, and beat those guys all the way down the field, and just said, "Okay, fine." They got to the end zone. Nobody knew who they had. It was,
No.
and I'll tell you what. I hate to say this about the Washington Oregon game, but there were some stupid coaching moves there. Why in God's name did Oregon onside kick with 2 minutes to go and three
Mm.
timeouts? That made absolutely no sense. So
No,
yeah.
not at all. I can't wait to see what the bowl games are going to look like. All right, that was our college football segment here on Telling It Like It Is. We're here every Saturday morning, 10:30 a.m. Meet with me, Ralph Williams, Leo Haggerty from Amped Up Sports. This program is brought to you by RW Media Productions and Amped Up Sports as well. Amped Up Sports is a great sport organization that has a website where they do a lot of reporting. Leo does a lot of reporting. Peter Blake and a few other guys that just do. They have reporters for every NFL team. They've been on my show, and I have a guy coming on for the Indy Colts to talk about them next Tuesday. This Tuesday on Sports Corner, we have Steve Belisarie to talk about the New England Patriots. That game's coming up on Thursday. Steelers versus New England. Steelers take on this week the Arizona Cardinals. Arizona Cardinals look horrible. But this segment is brought to you by Fulton Travel Mobility. If you're handicapped, disabled, in a wheelchair, as I am, do you need a folding power wheelchair? Well, if you do, call 1-877-GOTFOLD. Make your life better by calling Fold and Travel Mobility. Also, you can go online. They have some great specials. They also have financing, and they have some great experts that will talk with you about a folding power wheelchair. That number again, 1-877-GOTFOLD. That's 1-877-GOT-FOLD or foldandtravelmobility.com. Check out their holiday specials. You might be able to get a folding power wheelchair 50% off or more for this year for the holidays. All right, Fulton Travel Mobility. Also, I want to talk to you today about Bon Journey, Bon Jovi Journey cover band. They're playing tonight at the Lazy Chameleon in Columbus. You still have time to get there. Show doesn't start till 8 p.m. It's about a 4-hour drive, or it's 2.5 hours, or whatever it is, to Columbus, Ohio, Powell, Ohio. It's called the Lazy Chameleon. December 16th, they're at the Big Bar in Erie, not the small bar, the Big Bar in Erie. December 16th. December 22nd, they're at Jurgles in Warrendale on Brush Creek Road. All right, Leo, let's talk about the NFL. We have some coaching firings. Frank Reich got fired. Uh, I'm hearing stories now, and I predicted this at the beginning of the season that Brandon Staley was going to lay an egg down there, and he has. They're talking about firing him. I'm hearing John Gruden might be coming back to the Raiders once he clears up his legal issues. What's your thoughts on this year's NFL? Where do you think these teams might go at the end of the year? Some of these teams that need coaches.
Well, Ralph, they're going to have 6 new coaches. That's just
Yes.
the world.
Oh, Matt Everfort's going to get fired too from Chicago. I think he's going to get fired.
Yeah, and Todd Bowles is on the hot seat down here.
Yeah,
I tell
right.
you, if he doesn't beat Carolina this weekend, it could be curtains for him. And it's I don't know why you would fire a coach mid-season, because now you got to
I
pay
would
him.
never do that.
No,
Yeah,
you go to the end of the season, and especially when you're out of it, like Carolina, they're out of it. They're 1-9. You know,
Right. I
eh,
can't understand how they're 1-9, because of
oh,
the
I
coaching
can.
staff that he put together.
Oh,
I
I
mean, he
can.
put together a really great coaching staff. I can't understand that.
Oh, it's a great coaching staff. You got a rookie quarterback, and
Yeah.
they got the wrong rookie quarterback. They got instead of C.J.
Yeah, I
Stroud,
know. He picked the wrong quarterback. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that may be why he got fired. Maybe he was that was his son. And I can't believe they didn't see that at
Yeah.
Carolina that C.J. Stroud physically was the better guy because
Right.
it's tough to be a quarterback in the NFL if you're 6 foot or smaller, which he may.
Yes.
You know, Bryce
Yeah.
Young. Hey, great. Okay, fine. You got the IQ. You got this. You don't have
Who
the skill.
cares?
Yeah,
If you don't have the skill and you can't do the game, the NFL game is much faster than the college game. And if you can't pick up the speed of the NFL game, you can forget about it.
yeah. Especially when it becomes a physical issue with seeing over offensive linemen and
Right.
all that. But you know what, Ralph? I know we're getting close to the end, but we need to talk about this too. The NFL flexed the Eagles Seahawks, but they flexed them from a Sunday to a Monday. And I'll tell you what, I can't believe the NFL. Well, I can't believe the NFLPA is just backed out of that because they're the weakest union in all of sports. But I wouldn't be surprised to see in the next day or two somebody sue the NFL for that. Because think about this: if you were Philly and you're flying out for a Sunday game, now it's Monday, right?
Yeah.
You may not even have a room. You may not, and if you're a Seattle fan, I may be coming in from Eastern Washington, and now I got to go to work and that. So yeah, I don't mind you flexing time, but when you flex days, that throws everything into a quandary.
Well, they did that to the Steelers last year, Leo. We had a game. I think it was scheduled on a Sunday. They moved, or on a Monday. They moved it to a Sunday because the Steelers weren't relevant. They said they wanted some better teams or something in there, and they moved it. That made everybody upset around here.
Oh yeah,
And I don't blame them.
yeah, I
So
I, I agree. And you know what? The fact that people are finally figuring out the NFL. It's all about the money. They don't care about
absolutely,
fans.
they don't care about it.
It's all about TV. So that's it.
Yeah, and the TV dollars are there. You got guys now who can, rather than coach, they could be a TV analyst and make 6 times more money than they would as an assistant coach.
Yeah,
Or if you're a retired player, you can retire, after 6 or 8 years, not beat up your body and go become a broadcaster. Oh, I'm an athlete, so I'll become a broadcaster. And make a ton of money,
yeah,
even if you have a bad voice. I mean, there's a lot of these athletes. They don't know how to do anything with broadcasts. They're terrible. Some of them are just horrible. And
yeah.
I.
Well, they're making them go to broadcast school now, at least, so they can
Oh,
see.
really?
Yeah, they're weeding out the bad ones. And hopefully, they're weeding out the bad ones. But we'll see what
Yeah.
happens there. But yeah, I can't believe they moved it days. And to say that game isn't relevant, granted, New England's having a bad season, but you know what? Football is a game of repetition and competition,
Right.
and it's just you got to have everything the same. One of my high school classmates wrote me and said, "What? Why are they moving this game again?" Players hate it. They hate it because now they got to change all their plans. And catch what's happening to Philly. They play San
Yeah.
Francisco this week. They got to fly to Dallas, fly home, and then fly out to Seattle for a Monday game. I
Oh
wouldn't
my
be
gosh.
surprised to see it if they fly to Dallas and then fly right to Seattle and just work out there.
Yeah, they could do that. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know teams that have done that.
Oh yeah.
I would do it like that. I wouldn't be flying around wasting all kinds of jet fuel, jet lag. I mean,
Yeah.
but
And then
then again, like you said, the NFL they don't care.
no, they
You know,
don't. Terrible.
they don't
It's
care at
terrible.
all.
All right, my friend. Hey,
All right, Leo.
another
Any
good
final
chat.
thoughts? Any final thoughts before we leave?
Yeah. Don't be afraid to keep an eye on some of these teams like Denver And the Steelers, who nobody thought they were going to even be in the conversation, now they are the conversation
Yeah.
in the
Well,
NFL.
I said the Steelers at the beginning of the year when I had my Steelers special. I said that the Steelers are going to be 10-7 or 11-6. That was my prediction, and it might come true.
Yeah, and I picked the Eagles 14-3. Now
Right.
they won 5, lost 1. They won 5. Now they'll probably lose to San Francisco. But hey, I'll tell you what, I'll take 10-2 right now.
Oh yeah.
That's for
Yeah.
sure. That's for
All
sure.
right, Leo. Have a great day. Congrats to South Florida for having a
Yeah,
good season this year, and
there it is.
So.
Yeah, we'll be able to talk bowl games next week. Take care, buddy.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Have a great one, Leo. Thank you.
You too. Bye.
That's Leo Haggerty, co-host here on Telling It Like It Is. And I want to talk to you today about Sleep Pittsburgh. Sleep Pittsburgh, 412-462-7858. Call them today or check out their website, sleeppittsburgh.com. They have day beds, futons. They have bunk beds. They have anything related to sleep, and their prices are right. You will not have to take out a loan. So call them today. That number again, 412-462-7858. But the key ingredient in here is no credit check financing. And they are on 8th Avenue in Homestead. So on your way out to a certain place to go look at Christmas lights, you can stop by there. Leave a little early, take the kids with you, go look at some bunk beds for the kids. Look at some, they even have children's room furniture, such as desks, stuff like that. So go check that out, Sleep Pittsburgh. That number again, 412-462-7858. Sleep Pittsburgh for the best sleep tonight. All right, I want to talk to you today about Hillcrest Farm, Richmond, Ohio. Hillcrest Farm is a hay grain beef company that produces beef right off the farm. And you want to head out there today, 45 minutes from downtown Pittsburgh, and or if you live in Alaska somewhere, I have fans up in Alaska. I have fans in Texas. I have fans in California. I have fans all across the United States. So when they listen to this or watch this program or listen to my sports corner show, they I tell them to go on the website hillcrestfarmsohio.com and check out their selection. They have a very good selection of beef. Christmas time's coming up. Maybe you want to send a beef order. They have package deals. You can check that out as well. Give them a call, 740-346-5442 or 740-632-2894. Caitlin and Taylor will be more than happy to speak with you. You can go up and check out their farm. It's up in Richmond, Ohio. Head up there before the weather really gets bad. It's up the hill from Steubenville, Ohio, not far from Pittsburgh, 45 minutes from downtown Pittsburgh. And also, don't forget to check out their variety boxes. And they also have their own Facebook page at Hillcrest Farm. And check out respond to their email if you'd like, hillcrestfarmsohio@gmail.com. Subscribe to when you get on their website or check out their Facebook page, get information to your email where they have specials. They're running a contest. They're doing all kinds of different things. So check out Hillcrest Farm, Ohio at hillcrestfarmsohio.com. Check them out today. Hillcrest Farms, Richmond, Ohio. All right, I'm Ralph Williams for Leo Haggerty. Everybody have themselves a great day. I have to go DJ somewhere. And if you need a DJ and you live in the Pittsburgh area, call me today, 412-545-4317. I'm a party and special event DJ. I do really good work. I've been doing it for about 15 years. So give me a call today. That number, 412-545-4317. Email me, ralphwilliams737gmail.com. You can also reach me on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, X platform. And also I have my own YouTube channel and my own radio show, Tuesday nights with Smoking Jim Frazier. Beaver County Radio, Tuesday night, 5 to 6 p.m. Check the website out, beavercountyradio.com, or check out my website, www.rwmedia.org. And if you're interested in any kind of advertising on all my shows here, it includes the radio show, podcasts, and 2 national shows on Block Talk Radio. I spoke to a guy yesterday, and you're not going to believe this, but he told me he spent $6,000 on advertising. You won't spend that kind of money with me. Call me today, 412-545-4317, and we'll talk about some sponsorship advertising for our RW Media shows. All right, for Leo Haggerty, I'm Ralph Williams. Have yourselves a great, safe weekend, and we'll see you next Saturday right here on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and Twitter for Telling It Like It Is.